Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast. I recently uploaded a video with 10 Japanese films from the 1970s that you should watch. Well, here are 10 more for you. Let's do it. Lady Snowblood, 1973. This is an action drama. A woman seeks vengeance for her father's death and her mother's rape. The storyline may seem generic, but this film would leave a lasting impression on future directors and cinephiles alike. This is one of Meiko Kaji's more unforgettable roles, and she handles herself very well as the lead. The action is satisfying, and the bloodiness of the kills are noteworthy. The pacing is good, and the short training sequences are entertaining. This film by Toshiya Fujita is a must-see if you're exploring this decade in Japanese film. Vampire Doll, 1970. It's a horror drama. This is the first film in Michio Yamamoto's Toho Vampire trilogy, along with Evil of Dracula and Lake of Dracula. It's the most well-written of the series, in my opinion, but it also moves the slowest, so keep that in mind. The storyline plays out like a mystery that concerns the alleged death of a young woman who may or may not actually be dead. This is a more unorthodox, unusual take on the vampire mythos, at least when compared to the subsequent films in this franchise. However, the mansion setting and effective scoring create a lot of mood and atmosphere. This trilogy was heavily influenced by the Hammer films, so if you're a fan of those, check these out. The missing girl reappears at certain moments in this film, and she looks both beautiful and creepy with those bright gold eyes. Fans of classical gothic horror will like this one quite a bit, and the other two films in the franchise are good as well. Pastoral To Die in the Country, also known as Pastoral Hide and Seek, 1974. It's kind of a weird drama. Back in the mid-2000s, word on the street said that this was one of those lost classics that was, it's kind of drifted into obscurity over the years. And I would have to kind of agree with it. A kid contemplates an escape from his stifling mother while meeting his dead father. A clan of old hags with eye patches, a married woman, and some weirdo circus folk along the way. So all these people kind of come into play. Although the storyline is explored in pretty bizarre ways, with very odd set designs, abrupt shifts in perspective and storytelling structure, etc., this is fairly straightforward overall, and it has a good number of WTF moments despite the fairly straightforward storytelling structure. The impressive thing is that it actually expresses an element of quality to it that balances out the weirdness. With a bit more exposure in the West, this film by Shuji Terayama could become a cult classic, but we'll have to see. Under the Blossoming Cherry Trees, 1975. This is a horror drama. In the forests of Japan, a beautiful woman bends a murderous mountain man to her will in this film by Masahiro Shinoda. At first, she uses him to kill indiscriminately, but after a while, the villainess shows a macabre, perverted hobby that needs to be seen to be believed. The theme of womanly power over man is omnipresent, and the relationship between the two leads is also interesting. As the title suggests, there are some very nice environments, like forests, cherry blossom trees, etc., and some cinematography. There is some nudity and a lot of decapitated heads, but this is a high-quality artistic horror film that's a must-watch. Panic High School, 1978, a thriller. Sogo Ishii directs this film about the suicide of a high school student and the fallout at his school when another student shows up with a rifle. As mentioned by an online reviewer that I read at one point, this film is a rebellion against the inefficiency and anachronism of the Japanese educational system, which places an unusually large amount of importance on cramming for entrance examinations. Now, scenes of mass chaos in this film are filmed very well. It's briskly paced and very gripping, and this director would greatly influence other Japanese directors who followed him. G.I. Samurai, also known as Time Slip, also known as I Want To. 1979, this is an action flick. A squadron of soldiers are transported through time to their country's warring states era in this film by Kosei Saito. Now you know this movie's going to be good when a group of badass archers emerge from the ocean early on. However, the insanely long finale, which lasts a whopping 25 minutes, is the highlight of the film. the samurai forces come up with some very cool tactics to fight against the squadron. And this film has a gigantic body count to it, so fans of Sonny Chiba will also be happy with his leading role. The uncut 139-minute version should be seeked out by those who would like to see it. Fun fact, Gareth Evans, the director of the Raid films, cited G.I. Samurai as one of his childhood favorites. Female Prisoner 701, Scorpion, 1972, an exploitation drama thriller. Now, after being manipulated into being assaulted by criminals, a woman, played by Meiko Kaji, attempts but fails to kill her boyfriend and ends up in prison. Now, this is an entertaining women in prison flick from the 70s that provides more than just nudity, which is what some of these films are known for, at least women in prison flicks. Now, there are certain aspects to Female Prisoner 701 Scorpion that help to set itself apart from a typical prison film, even in the present day, such as the camera work and lighting, which are pretty phenomenal. There's a lot of conflict that our protagonist needs to resolve as well, and that's one of the aspects of this film that makes it entertaining. Now, at its core, it's a survival flick that's rather compelling. Very solid film from director Shunya Ito that is the first of 4 installments in this franchise. Violent Streets, 1974. It's an action drama. This feels a bit different from some of Hideo Goshi's previous films because it's primarily a Yakuza tale set in a city involving kidnapping and murder. It begins with a simple criminal scheme, but conflicts quickly spiral out of control. What is familiar are the solid performances and assured direction that one expects from this director. And as an added bonus, this is probably the most violent and bloody film in this director's entire filmography. I mean, the entire second half is basically non-stop assassination attempts, which provide plenty of fun moments. Violent Streets is a hidden gem that fans of this director should seek out. The Transient Life, 1970, a drama. A woodcarver and his sister develop forbidden romantic love in this film by Akio Jisoji. Now, visuals and direction are beautifully shot. I like the way this guy moves the camera. You can tell that Jisoji is a real talent, especially from viewing this film. The score is actually quite good as well. This film has some interesting content and symbolism, which include Buddhist concepts and the conflict between lust and religion. This also contributes to one of the better religious debates that I've seen in a film. It's good stuff. The Transient Life is my personal favorite of the Buddhist trilogy, which also includes Mandala and Poem. House, also known as Hauzu, 1977, a horror comedy. Nobuhiko Obayashi directs this film about a girl and her friends who visit her aunt's countryside mansion, which is unfortunately under the control of an evil witch. Now, first and foremost, the editing, the scoring, and the camera work in this film are completely insane. The use of fade-outs, anime layovers, silent filming supplemented with character commentary, in-picture spotlights, and a plethora of whacked-out special effects create a very frenetic pace that is undeniably unique. Some of the special effects are really neat, while others are very cartoonish and outdated. But the set designs are pretty cool, and the sheer energy on display gives it all an endearing charm. The humor is effective, and there are lots of WTF moments peppered all over the place. And also a lot of subtle details that you will discover on repeat viewings. Don't blink during this film, because you'll surely miss something. So there you have it. 10 more Japanese films from the 1970s that you should watch. Again, my last 2 videos on the 70s don't cover everything, so if there's any additional films you really like, definitely, list a few of them down in the comments section. And the titles for the films in this video are listed in the description box below. Again, I'm not providing availability info in this playlist because most of the films I saw years ago and availability changes over time. Again, my usual method for checking availability on these is Google, so be sure to seek any of them out that seem interesting to you. In my next video in this playlist, we're going to crack into the 1980s of Japanese cinema, which has, some additional hidden gems, hopefully that you'll be able to check out. So stay tuned for that. And as always, we'll see you next time.